Hello, everyone, and welcome into crushthestreet.com. We are going into the Thanksgiving week, and I wanted everyone to be updated here on what is happening in precious metals, the resource sector. Gold is in a retracement at the moment. I mean, we're well below $1,500, but having a spectacular 2019, it's in a confirmed bull market, and it's still very early, if you ask me. And what I want people to do today is, of course, be positioned correctly. Of course, consider physical precious metals first, but once you've done that and you're comfortable, if you'd like to go over and beyond, consider the miners and the junior miners. This is where we'll really see the leveraged exposure to what is coming in this confirmed bull market here in the resource sector. And with us today, I have Farshad Shirvani, CEO and president of a resource company, a very early stage resource company, but one that has a lot of potential, in my opinion, Doubleview Capital Corp. Farshad has 23 years of solid geological experience in the mining sector, and Doubleview is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange at DBV, ticker symbol DBV, and on the OTC DBLVF. Farshad, thanks for coming on Crush the Street with me today.
Hi, thank you for inviting me here. Hi to everyone.
Farshad, if we could start here, I mean, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the mining sector, the resource space, and where we are today, 23 years later.
I have started 23 years ago in the mining industry, right in downtown Vancouver. Started my work. I'm a geologist, got master's degree with modeling different deposits, and got into this industry from the grassroots and continued on. Of course, market was down at a few years, and I've had lots of experience in this cycle of the market. In fact, I believe it was 2001 when a client of mine came in and put a sticker on my desk. Gold was 250-ish, and he said, watch it. Gold is going to be by August about 300 some. And I laughed at it. I said, it's impossible. 1.5 times, it's impossible. We saw $1,900 a couple of years or 3 years after that, which is unheard of. Then we went to another cycle, which is a large cycle that we are in right now. And I believe about a year ago, I had an interview with one of your people, and I predicted, I said, we are in 1300s. Watch it. It's going to go to 1500, 1600 next year. And well, it was. Now, the way I look at the graph and I see it, it's 1450, and it's just resistance is there, is waiting for the beginning of the year. I believe in the beginning of the year, we're going to have another upside, but this upside is going to be a little different because all the other sectors in the world are just dwindling, like marijuana, like Bitcoin, and people see, hey, we have to go to resource, and gold is going to be upfront of all the resource, following by copper and silver. We're going to have a tremendous year this year.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and that's something that even here at Crush the Street, we've been covering heavily, just pointing out, like, this is a very pivotal year. I mean, we've seen a major sea change in the resource sector. And what's nice about what we're seeing now with, call it the 1450, mid $1,400 gold, it's giving everyone an opportunity to consider the space and to be positioned without it just taking off with, the train leaving the station, if you would, if we can call it that. Before we kind of get into the details of the company, I mean, let's talk a little bit about why we're seeing gold move up. I mean, does it have to do with negative interest rates, what the $17 trillion of negative yielding bonds all around the world, or is it multiple factors converging that's giving us this upward price action in gold?
There are several things at the play. One of them is the business concept. Business concept means, in my opinion, when people go to marijuana, they go into that sector. Now they're coming out of it. High tech coming out of it. Where should they go to? To a place that they haven't been in the past several years. It's been really quiet. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is uncertainty in the whole world around all the politics of different countries in the Middle East, in even North America right now. And this brings an uncertainty, and people love to go to a certain material, which is gold. We always refuse to that, take refuge to that. And next year is the beginning of the year. People want to invest. Right now, they're coming at the end of the year out of the investments they have in the other sectors. They have to place the money. Where would they go? Gold. And that's why we see this strength in gold. And I see it over a long time. We're staying at 1450, and it's going to go from there. I think this is the platform to move up from here.
Sure. Well, gold here in this time period, I mean, you know, it's been around for 5,000 years. There's definitely that historical precedence, even though in, you know, let's say the year 2017, many people were saying, hey, you know, is Bitcoin the new gold? Is gold relevant anymore? But people who've had, you know, like yourself, who understand the space, who's been in it for many years, they understand that gold has a historical precedence that's not going to change with just any short-term price moves. I mean, this is something that people will go back to time and time again for years and years to come, certainly well past both of our lifetimes. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing in 2019. You know, what has happened in the resource sector? I mean, are we starting to see more action in regards to what companies are doing in 2019 because of the higher price that we're seeing in gold? I mean, are they developing more drill programs, more excitement that's indicative that, hey, even the companies now believe that we're in a confirmed bull market for precious metals, as to maybe the difference that we would have seen a couple years ago?
There's a very, very good clue for me who lives in downtown Vancouver as what the trend is. Many major mining companies from Australia, literally this year, opening offices or ramping up their efforts to get into projects. And this is really visible in downtown Vancouver. I don't want to name names, but many of these companies opened up offices. Some of them, they had smaller offices, they made bigger offices, and they knock on our doors. I have had several of them knocking on the doors, coming from Australia, for instance, more significantly, to look at our project. And the reason Australia is getting really active because they didn't spend their money into other sectors like Bitcoin or marijuana. That's why they were left with all the money. And where do I want to go? To Vancouver. We see a lot of activities on that. Certainly my company has had at least several CAs with several companies to come and have a look at this deposit. Why is it coming? China has certain problem with US. It has to be resolved. It hasn't been resolved. Once it's resolved, all the resource industry, gold and copper, they're gonna get a large boost, and everybody is waiting for that moment. And as you see it in the cycles, every time there's a hint that they're gonna sign an agreement, the prices will go up, even for one night. The prices, they go up and they stay a little bit up, but it's gonna snap, and that's the moment I see it. When is it gonna happen? I believe it's gonna happen between now to end of January. somewhere in there. It has to happen, and it'll happen.
Well, everyone, I mean, we're speaking with Farshad Shirvani, and I mean, someone who has a real pulse for what is going on with the companies, obviously running his own, the CEO and president of Doubleview Capital Corp. Obviously his comments on precious metals. Normally we talk to people who are more on the economic side. They analyze things, but he's really somebody who's seeing the pulse of the resource sector and what companies are actually doing, what the management is doing. And so having said that, Farshad, tell us a little bit about Doubleview, kind of where the company has been and where we are here in 2019 amongst this bull market that we're seeing in precious metals.
Yes, we discovered the HAT project. HAT is a gold copper porphyry project with significant values and drill intercepts in the deposit. And going into 2019, I believe my investors now feeling that they have to be in this to prove up the size and the magnitude of this deposit. This deposit is having a footprint of about 2 kilometers by 2.5 kilometers, all worked on by major mining company, and the results are shown in all the data and graphs. Now we're drilling that, and we're putting the deepest drill into this deposit up to this time. And we want to prove the length that this deposit can carry. We've had gold up to 110 meters of 1.2 grams per ton gold equivalent, and it shows the strength over 0.5 kilometer mineralization, 0.6 grams per ton gold. And we want to expand this deposit and work at depth and bring it to a level that in near future we get a major either be along the side with us or buy us out, and we'll go invest in some new project. So that's the plan with Doubleview.
Sure. Well, the company's currently trading at what, a $10 million Canadian market cap, and it's a porphyry deposit. It's a special kind. As you were telling me, there's not that many kinds of these deposits out there in the world today. And, deposits like this have up to 40 million ounces of gold.
Yes.
And, kind of tell us a little bit what's the significance of this type of deposit, and what can investors expect when they're speculating in this type of company, Doubleview?
This type of deposits, it can be rich, can be very deep. We're working just on the first kilometer right now. And the same as Grasberg, can go to 8 kilometer plus. And as they go deeper, they get richer. For instance, Grasberg up the top was 0.1, 0.2 grams. Now they are deep at 2 ounces per ton and 4.8% copper, which is really rich. At some point, they had 21,000 employees. They had churches. They have church, they have shops, they have restaurants at 8 kilometers below the surface. It shows how significant they can be, and they are. The porphyry deposit, the one that we have, so far we have touched about 650 meters by 500 meters of that, just a little bit of it. We haven't touched the other sides or north or south or even at depth. And with one drill hole, the whole story can be changed significantly for companies like Doubleview. We are certainly really undervalued by 10 cents. $10 million market cap is not fair for this deposit.
Farshad, if you would kind of give us some closing thoughts here. I mean, obviously, my readers understand that the leveraged exposure to what we're seeing with precious metals is in the mining sector. So, if people want to learn more about the company, kind of, just give us a little bit more as we wrap up this conversation on the opportunity that is here, both on the trend side and specifically for those that want to go over and beyond and be part of, really an early stage, exciting story develop as with you as the leader.
Sure. If anyone has a question, they can phone our office. Our phone number is 604-678-9587. I'm readily available to answer to all their questions. They can go to our website at doubleview.ca, www.doubleview.ca, and they can look at the news releases, look at the previous drilling results, and see. I'm hoping that the upside is really good. One thing I can tell all the viewers that we are drilling at this time, we're putting the deepest holes on the property, and it's not a secret. Anywhere we drill, we see the mineralization coming in the hole, and because we are drilling right into the deposit. It's the matter of time when we get the biggest hit on this one, and when the biggest upside is going to come to this company.
Farshad Shirvani, everyone. Farshad, thank you so much for your time here at Crush the Street and updating us on what is happening in the metal sector, and of course, with your company, Doubleview Capital. Thank you for coming on Crush the Street with me.
Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you, Ken.